Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are back with another book club evening here. Tonight, we are going to be discussing our September pick, Sometimes I Lie, and we will be joined by Allie of 𝗕villecrochet. So let me go ahead and see if I can get her on here. Hang on just one second. Okay, Allie, I have sent you the invitation. Yay, that might be the smoothest I've ever gotten somebody on the call, like, to date. That's awesome.
That's
How
amazing.
are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you could join me tonight.
I'm excited. Me too.
This book, am I right?
It is not at all what I was expecting it to be, but I loved it.
I know, same. This was your first one by her, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have heard great things about her, but have never read her, and
yeah,
did not disappoint.
No, not at all. I know this was my first by her too, and I'm super excited to read more of her stuff now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So for those just joining, we are going to be talking about our September pick. I don't know how well you can see this. Sorry, my ring light was like, Thanks. I'm always like all over the place. I have like audiobooks, I have ebooks, I have regular books. I don't even know what I've got.
I love to have the physical book in my hand. I don't know why. So I buy way too many books.
I understand that. And I used to be like that. And then I discovered the joy of reading in the bathtub with an e-reader because I'm a big bath taker. So it's so easy. So then I don't have to worry about, of course I have to worry about dropping it, but still.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
We never went back. Yeah.
But it's only a one finger, turn page thing. I'm like, I can do this. I can get with that. That's cool. So, before we jump into too much on the book, I just wanted to kind of have a little chat with you and get to know you a little better.
Yeah.
So why don't we start off by, I'm going to have you go ahead and I'm just going to throw it to you and have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your story and what got you started making.
Sounds good. I'm Allie. I obviously run 𝗕villecrochet, and I'm 28. I live in Columbus, Ohio. Well, near Columbus, Ohio. I always just say Columbus because that's what everybody knows.
I get that. I know. I'm the same way with St. Louis. I always tell people I live in St. Louis, but I'm actually in just a suburb. So
yeah, I live in Grove City. Nobody knows what that is.
Oh, I do know, but that's only because I actually have friends that are out in the Columbus area. So
oh, really? That's awesome. So you do know. I have been crocheting for about 10 years. I think it's been. When you sent me the question, I was trying to think. I was like, man, has it really been that long? But I think it has. I the winter after I graduated high school, I was just bored and it was cold in Ohio, and I was like, I need a winter hobby, and went to the craft store and bought myself some yarn and some crochet hooks. Actually, I started trying to knit first, which was terrible. We can talk about that, but I was like, maybe I can handle just one hook and one piece of yarn. That would be way better. So I've been doing that. I started just making random things, and then my friends and family were like, can you make me one of those? And just kind of spiraled from there. So I've been making ever since.
That's awesome. I love it. I had a very much similar experience with I'm sitting here trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to do something with yarn. Am I going to do knitting or crochet? Crochet is just one utensil. Let's go with that one.
My brain might be able to wrap itself around that a little more.
Exactly. So is there a meaning behind why you chose the name 𝗕villecrochet?
Yes. So my grandparents started a flower shop. This is going to circle back, I promise. But they started a flower shop 30 plus years ago called Villager Flowers.
Okay.
And so my grandparents owned it for 30 years. And then my mom took over. And so now she owns it, and I worked there on and off for years. And we started a little craft store inside of the flower shop. And we would sell local crafts, and it was called the Ville. And I started selling my stuff just in there. I would just make stuff and sell it there. That's how I got started, kind of. And then when I went to start my own thing, I was like, I'll just name it after this, because it meant a lot to me, and the villager name has been around forever. So that's why
I
it's called
love
the Ville Crochet.
that. Now, is that all right there in the Ohio, like where you live in Ohio, like all in the same kind of local area?
Yeah, the flower shop is in Columbus. So
Okay.
it's
No,
like
wait,
15 minutes.
actually Columbus?
It's actually in Columbus. It has a Columbus address.
That's awesome, though. I love like the sentimentality behind it, and
Yeah.
it's like you're taking everybody along for the ride. And I think it's a great thing. I don't know. I like it. So, did you start your maker journey knowing that you wanted to design your own patterns, or is that something you just kind of evolved into?
I definitely didn't start wanting to design. The designing like aspect felt very overwhelming to me. It still does. But like first I was like, there's no way I'll ever design my own pattern. Like that's just crazy. But once you like kind of start making a bunch and get familiar with a lot of patterns, it just kind of feels like the natural like next step. And so my first pattern that I ever created was just like a pillow. And just like randomly one day I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a crack at this. Had an idea and just went with it. So
I love it. I love it. And then you just never look back.
Yeah, pretty much. I only have like, I have like a handful of patterns that I've designed, and yeah, I never would have thought that.
I think that's awesome. I know from like just at least like I don't know about you, but like if I'm gonna make something, and especially if I'm just winging it, like if I ever want to remake it, I'm never gonna remember what I did unless I write it down. So I'm like, well, I'm already writing it down. Like, you might as well share it with everybody else.
Exactly.
Exactly. Well, I love your
share
patterns. Say what?
I said share the wealth.
Yeah, exactly. I love like your boo beanie that you just came out with recently too, and how the
oh, thank you.
You're doing all the writing, and that's crochet, not knit, right? Okay, you're just doing like
no, that's knitting.
Is it? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were using
yes.
Look at you. So you came back around to knitting after all, huh?
Yes. After I crocheted, I only crocheted for like years, and then I crochet. I was like, okay, maybe I can try it. The thing I ever knit was like this scarf, and it had like holes in it. Like I don't even know what I did to mess it up, but it was horrible. And so I gave up. And then once I got like familiar with the craft, I think knitting kind of came easier. So I am knitting and crocheting now.
Look at you go. So I don't know why, but I was thinking that was, oh gosh, and I'm totally spacing on the type of stitch it's called in crochet, but it's the one that looks like knit, where it's like single crochet, but you do it in a way that you go like into the middle of the single crochet. So
oh,
like
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I thought that's what you were doing.
Oh, no. See, I got you fooled.
You did. I like it, though. It was a good surprise. Is there any specific type of project that you gravitate towards, like beanies, blankets? Obviously, I know you do, and you mentioned pillows, but I've seen other things on your feed as well.
Yeah, probably definitely beanies. I like love making hats, just literally any hat. I just love it. And I always make that. I think it's like any like simpler, like quick project. I don't have patience for like a lot of blankets or like intricate designs. So the simpler the better, and the quicker the better.
I hear that. Now, speaking about blankets though, you did post a couple, this has been a little, well, I don't even know. My idea of time is kind of all runs together because moms, right? Mm-hmm. But you had like these blanket squares you were making that were inspired by the covers of the books that you've read this year. Are you still doing that?
I am. I think I made like 5 now. And then I was like looking at it all, and like I'm just trying to kind of figure out like which direction I want to take it. Because I did one that was like more tapestry crochet. Yeah. And I really liked how it turned out. So I'm like trying to decide if I want to like go back and like make them all like that. Or if I just want to keep trucking along. But yeah, I think I have like 5 or 6 done now.
Do you have them near you that you can show us?
Hold on. Okay. Maybe like 1 second, I'll get them.
Okay. Because I think we all want to see. So while she's doing that, I'm just going to go through the comments here and say hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. So oh my goodness, so many people from all over. I love it. Let's see, we've got Joyce from the Pacific Northwest up there in the corner. And hey, Amber, Brianna, Emily, everybody. So glad everybody could be here. Oh, she's back. Let's see her squares.
Okay, so I only have 4 by me, but I think I have one more. Maybe I just don't know where it is. But let's see. This one.
The Colleen Hoover book.
All Your Perfects.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites. And then this one I was talking about that was like the tapestry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I do like that.
I do too.
I like
so
that
I can't
a lot.
decide. This one was
But I
like
also think a mix could probably be really pretty because then you get kind of like different textures and feels. It's more of like a patchwork sort of thing. So I think it just depends on what vibe you want.
I think I just need to like keep going and then like see it all together and then I'll like it. But I always like halfway through I'm like, wait, should I keep doing this or should I change my mind completely?
Which book was that one again? That second one?
Reckless Girls.
Okay.
It was one of my book of the month books.
Gotcha.
And this one.
Oh, cute.
The People We Meet on Vacation.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet, but I'm reading her other one, Book Lovers, right now.
Yeah, Book
Isn't
Lovers.
that the same lady?
It is. Book Lovers and Beach Read are my favorite of hers. This one wasn't my favorite, but it is what it is. And then this one was Anxious People by...
I'm curious, what did you think of that one?
I did not like that book.
Thank you! Everybody always raves about it. I'm like, yeah.
I was like scared to say I didn't like it because I was like, people like diehard like Frederick Backman fans, they like will come get you. But
I am solidly on the fence with that man. Like
yes.
I read Beartown first, and then I read a book called Of. I did not like Beartown. Like I in fact hated Beartown.
What?
Yeah, I know. Please don't come at me with the lynch mob, okay? But then I loved A Man Called Of, and I'm sitting there bawling. I even went and watched the subtitled movie. I read Anxious People, which I was solidly right in the middle with that one. I'm like, I am no closer to finding out what my true feelings are about this.
No, he's a strange one to like wrap your head around, I think, when you're reading his books.
For sure. For sure. You have one more?
No, that was it.
That was all I got. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. I love that you're doing that. And it's like somebody else mentioned to me, like, oh, you need to do this. It's like, oh, have you seen Allie? She's doing this. Like, you need to go check it out. It's really cool.
Yeah,
it's
some
like
people
like your blanket for books.
Exactly. Like people came at me. They're like, oh, so-and-so's been doing this for like years. And I was like, I wasn't saying I'm like the first one to ever do this. Like, it's just something that I'm doing.
I think people have to just take a deep breath and step back for a second. It's okay.
I'm not claiming this to be my idea.
Right.
It's just fun.
Oh my goodness. People are crazy sometimes. Okay. Let's see. So, all right. So let's get back because we were kind of briefly talked about how, time just tends to run together, especially when you're a mom.
Yes.
So speaking of, how's the new mom life?
It's great. I actually love it. I have a 2-month-old son named Crew, and it's crazy. It's like the wildest thing in the world, but we're loving it.
I am so happy for you. And isn't it the best thing when you get to make these teeny tiny little beanies now?
I know. I'm
big old
so
palms on that
excited. I just like made one like the palm was literally like the size of his head. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. But
I mean, seriously, there's nothing cuter than a baby with a palm as big as its head. It's true. I challenge anybody to prove me wrong. Awesome. It's definitely enjoy it while you can, because I swear I've got 2 kids, and my oldest is 11 and my youngest just turned 8 this past weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I'm like looking at it, like Facebook pulls up like all the memories of this day. So I'm like so
yes, you're soaking it all in.
Yes, absolutely. So do you have any other creative outlets besides yarn?
I work at my church part-time, and I do like a lot of like our graphics and like social media and stuff. So I dabble in that a little bit as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
It's cool. I like it.
So are you using like doing graphic design type stuff with that?
Yeah, like in Photoshop, all that jazz. I kind of got like tossed into this role, and like I was doing the social media, and then they're like, started adding like graphics to my list, so I kind of had to like figure out the graphic design aspect, but I actually really like it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I enjoy doing that as well. So that's something else we have in common.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't use Photoshop though, but I do enjoy it, and I'm hoping to get. I had told my husband actually, so I showed my ancient iPad here when I was showing the book. And I was like, I told my husband, I was like, so for Christmas this year, instead of getting me another watch I don't need, can you get me a new iPad? I would like to use Procreate.
I'll say, do you use Procreate? I just got, my dogs chewed my other Apple Pencil. And I just got a new one. Like, it was like a year ago they chewed it up. And I was like, I need a new Apple Pencil. Like, the next day one showed up because my husband ordered it because he loves all things technology.
I love it.
He's like, here you go. I was like,
I need
use
to
Procreate again.
Done. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so on your, you've mentioned how much you love to watch different shows and movies, and obviously we know you like to read books. Do you ever do audiobooks? Like, what are you listening or watching when you're working on something yarny?
I usually am just watching TV because I cannot do audiobooks. I don't know why.
Really?
But I can do them, like, if I'm going on like a long road trip.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm just in the car for hours and hours, then I will do an audiobook. That's the only time. I like, just lose my train of thought when I'm listening to them like throughout my day. But so I'm mostly watching TV, and it's usually either Gilmore Girls, The Office, or like Friends. It's like the three that are on loop.
Yeah, and it's like that's because you're so familiar with them that you can just leave it on in the background and it's cool. Yeah,
I can just make it. I don't have to pay attention. I don't have to think about it. It's just on.
I've been listening to and semi-watching the Great British Baking Show.
Oh, I love that show.
That's another good one to just like have on in the background, and then all of a sudden you have this huge desire for bread, and like
then you want to go bake something.
Yes, exactly. So, do you have any authors that you just automatically buy from? Like, as soon as they put out a new book, you're like, oh, it's out. I need to go get it now.
I'd probably say Colleen Hoover. I have read a lot of her books, most of them probably. Emily Henry. I do love her books. I am
only just getting into her Book Lovers book, and I really love her style.
Yes, I love Book Lovers. That was like the one like I like went to the store the day that it released to read it. That's probably it. Like I like Taylor Jenkins Reid, but I don't like like she just has a lot of books. I haven't like barely touched any of hers, but I do enjoy hers.
Yeah, she's really good. I actually just got to see her talk. She was here in St. Louis last week. And yeah, she was like came home and it's like, I mean, most of her books are like so serious and they got like all this drama and deep layers and stuff, and then like you listen to her talk and she is the funniest lady, and like I was telling my husband about it and he was like, oh, does she write comedy? I was like, no. She's hilarious.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so she is another. I haven't read a lot of hers either, but the ones that I've read I really enjoyed.
Yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six by her was actually one of the audios that I have done.
I heard really good things about that audiobook.
It was like crazy. It's like every like character is like a different person,
right?
That's reading them, and like it like felt like felt like you were like listening to like a documentary or something,
like a VH1 special or something.
Yes, it was amazing.
Am I dating myself? Do you know what VH1?
No, I know what VH1 is.
Okay. All right. Well, I have something I like to do just for fun. It's just like this or that or would you rather kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I do this with all of my guests, just poking fun a little bit. All right. So I'll try not to be too mean because sometimes I can be. Okay. Do you prefer coffee or tea or something else? Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Pick one of those. Coffee.
Coffee.
Okay. Well, I already know the answer to that one. You just already told me. Texture or color work?
Color.
Would you rather meet your favorite author or your favorite character?
Probably my favorite author.
Which one would that be?
Colleen Hoover. Which
I had to ask.
Have you seen anything like on hers on social media?
Mm-mm.
She surprised me when I started following her. I was like, she's not anything like I expected her to read to be.
Really? Okay, well, after we're done here, you know what I'm doing.
Yes, go soccer.
Okay, what reading location? Read on the beach or read by the fire?
Fire.
Fire on the beach?
So I'm not like a beach person, so.
Not either.
Okay, thank you.
I get that too. Like, I hate the sand on me.
Too.
Like, I can't stand it.
It's not fun.
No. Let's see. World building or character development?
Character development.
Would you rather work in rows or work in the round?
Round.
You can work without seams. I think it's prettier.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let's do, here's a good one. We'll make this the last one. So, would you rather have the book or the movie?
The book. I do love movies, but the book's always better.
It is, because you can like make your own imagining of everything, and I think that's always fun. Awesome. Okay, so I think at this point, we're going to go ahead and start talking about the book, and I'm going to clarify this. Like, as I mentioned to you and anybody that's been on with me with these chats before, we always do the non-spoilery talk before, and then I'll give you a bit of a warning, and then we'll talk spoilers. But fair warning, this non-spoiler section is not very long today.
I'm going to do my best to not spoil.
I know. I feel like, I don't know. We need a buzzer for each other. So like if you catch me, you can like be. It's going to be hard, I think. Okay, so just a general synopsis of the book for those that haven't read it. Sometimes I lie. So you have this woman, Amber Reynolds. She wakes up and she's lucid in a coma. So like she's aware, she hears everything that's going on around her, but she can't see anything and she can't communicate anything. And we go back and forth in timelines. There's kind of 3 running timelines. Two of them are in the same kind of present tense, not tense, present time. I can't think. But it's like in the hospital moving forward, and then a week or something before the hospital, and then back when she was a child. And we get to know Amber, and she's trying to figure out, like, she has no memory of what landed her in the hospital, and she's trying to figure out why she's afraid of her husband and being in the hospital. So it's pretty twisted, this book. Obviously it's a thriller.
Yes.
What was your first reaction after finishing it?
My first reaction was confusion, but
Like,
what did I just read?
Right.
Is it over? Is there more that I'm missing?
Wait, where's the other pages? I can't seem to. This can't be it.
But this being my first book of hers, my immediate reaction was I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And took me by surprise.
So I mentioned this to you previously, but I actually read this twice.
Yes.
So the first time I read it a while ago, I don't even remember when it was, but when you told me about, like you wanted to read this book, I'm like, oh yeah, I think that's on my list. And oh wait, I already read it, but I don't remember what it's about. So this will be fun. So, I've slept and read other books since then. So, I read it twice. And, normally like when you reread a book, it's like, what to expect, especially with this type of book, when the ending's already been revealed.
Come back to you.
It'll come back and you'll be like, oh, right. And I'll say, like, I did remember parts of the twist, but then there were other stuff that I just completely forgot. And like by the end of it, even though this was my second read, I was still very much confused. Like, I still don't know what's going on.
No clarity.
Still, I'm no closer to answers. So let's just put it that way. There was nothing I caught the second time through that I missed the first time.
All right.
So, I don't know.
So rereading is not the answer.
Right. No. Well, maybe at least not with like a year in between. Maybe. Okay. So the title itself is pretty mind-boggling in and of itself, I think, because it's just, I mean, one thing that I think that Feeney does really well is her layers.
Yes.
You know, and how like everything has not just a double meaning, but sometimes like a triple meaning, or what's the number for 4, or quadruple meaning.
Quadruple.
You know? Yeah. So I think like, you know, sometimes I lie, you know, sometimes that could refer to like, you know, well, what does this mean exactly? Are we referring to like the white lies that we all, you know, like, oh yeah, no, that makes you look great. Like, you know, or,
yeah.
You know,
Lying
or
to help
are we
people.
talking, sorry?
Are lying to help people.
Right. Make people feel better and to spare feelings or whatever. Or, you know, is it like, sometimes I lie, you know, like just for fun, or to get out of trouble, or, you know, no, officer, I wasn't speeding. Like, you know, like, but it's also kind of flippant, you know, like, I don't know. How do you think that sets the tone for the book?
I feel like the title like threw me off at first, because I kind of like went into it like, am I supposed to trust her? Like, am I supposed to like assume everything she's saying is a lie? Like,
right.
Where like, so I don't know. I still like trying to like wrap my head around all of that, but and it did make sense. Like at the back page is like 3 things, you know, about me. Like, I'm in a coma. My husband doesn't love me anymore. Sometimes I lie. And then like the 3 things that she would list like in her diaries throughout the book.
Right.
So like that kind of like connected it a little bit more to me, but yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely left trying to kind of sift through and determine, like, you're already figuring out that she's an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
But like, what's reliable and what's not? And does that mean like everything's a lie? Like you're saying, like, is everything a lie? Is it part of it? Is it like, are the 3 facts lies? Or I think those were true. But like, yes. I don't know. It just sets the tone for like the whole thing, and leaves you like, you're scratching your head before you even crack the cover. Like, yeah. Seriously. All right. So there's a quote where she says, I can do Amber the friend or Amber the wife, but right now it's time for Amber from Coffee Morning. So don't we all play different roles in life? Do you behave differently with like family, friends, colleagues, or do you feel like you're able to be yourself with everyone you know?
I definitely feel like I'm more comfortable with some people, and so they'll get like the full version of me. I don't know if it would be like a different version. So I try to be like the same person I am in front of everyone that I would be like behind the scenes, you know. But the more you get to know me, like obviously the more like of actual Allie you're gonna get to see. So right. The way I'm with my husband is completely different than the way I'm with like my friends, because he knows me the best and I'm with him all the time. So that would be like the different versions.
Yeah. No, I get that. I always like to make fun of my husband because when he does this, when he gets on the phone for like a work call, so like he's got his normal voice, like when he's talking, yes. But then when he gets on the phone, hi, this is Bob. I'm like, your voice drops like an octave.
You're like, what is that?
I don't know why I just thought of that and why I felt compelled to embarrass my husband on, you know, public Instagram, but you know.
No, I'm laughing because I do the same thing with my husband. Like if I hear him trying to like sell himself, he films weddings, so he's always trying to like sell himself to like bride and grooms to film their wedding. I'm like, who even are you right now?
That's awesome. I do think we do these different roles though, like even outside of, at least I know I do. I think like, you know, there's a different role that I have, I think, as being my kid's mom, you know, like when I'm talking to the principal or talking to their teachers or other school administrators or something, versus, you know, like it's like the responsible parent, Kristen, or you know what I mean? Like you do, we do have these like little roles that we
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think I got what she was saying with that, but then I started to wonder because then I think about the title again and I'm like, okay, well, you know, like, are we having like a perfectly relatable moment with Amber, or are we having like being introduced to possible, you know, like multiple personalities?
Yes.
like what's going on? Okay. So this question is one of the ones that I got from the publisher's website, because that's one of, like, I always look up discussion questions, you know. And I'm going to say right now that I did not notice any of this. I mean, I noticed some of it, but not to the extent that they're talking about in this question. The color red is mentioned 60 plus times in the book. Stolen red pens, red studio lights, a red toothbrush, lipstick, traffic lights, wine, blood, and the robin's red breast, which I beg to differ, they're orange, are just some examples. What other themes did you spot? Did you spot any other themes? Like, because I didn't even spot that one. Like,
no, and honestly, like, even as you're reading that, the only red thing I could think of was the red envelopes.
Yes, that's the only thing I could think of too. And like, I wonder if it's supposed to, like, now I'm beginning to wonder after reading that question, you know, like, is this supposed to be some kind of juxtaposition? Like, everything is like Hitchcock, you know, where it's black and white, but everything sinister is in red.
Oh, I like that.
I don't know. This is where my scary brain goes. All right. So before we hop, let's just make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Amber said she's definitely thought multiple personalities a few times. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to touch on that in a second. So, all right. So at this point, I think we've reached as much as we can discuss without spoilers. Agreed?
Not much you can talk about, yeah.
No, it's so hard. I think there was like, I think I had a list of them. How many spoilers there were? 1, 2, 5, at least. At least 5. So if anybody needs to jump off for non-spoilering purposes, before you go, let me show you what next month's book is, which I have not purchased yet. I did not have time to go out yet. But we are going to be reading...
I have that book.
Oh, yay! You'll have to join us for that one, too.
I know.
Love on the Brain by Alice Hazelwood. Another Allie, spelled differently.
Yeah.
So that will be next month's book, and we will be looking at that on October 25th at 7 p.m. So, all right, here on out, we're going to do spoilers. Yay. So let's just, since Amber already mentioned the multiple personalities, I think that might have been a clue into the fact that maybe we weren't dealing with just like one point of view.
Yes.
So I think maybe that was like a clue ahead of time, like letting us in on it. Now that I think back about it, only because Amber pointed out that I knew. Thoughts?
I'm so bad at like picking those up as I'm reading book. Like mysteries, I'm always like just like flabbergasted at the end. I'm like, why can I never figure these out?
See, I really enjoy trying to like, oh, this is a clue. Like I'm like, I bet I'm the first one to realize it. That wasn't a clue. I was totally wrong.
Yeah, like the diaries like definitely threw me off. So I was like, this just doesn't seem like
the same person at all.
Yeah. So I was like, either she's like multi-personalities or like this isn't the same person.
Right. And I mean, like, and then there's and so this is another thought I had too. Like, I think as kids, you know, we're very, I'm not going to say selfish, it's not the right word, but we are very self-centered. Mm-hmm. You know, like for kids, everything revolves around us. So we don't know about all of the outside world. So I was having a hard time reconciling that voice of the diaries. Was it the budding sociopath? Or was it just a child being a child? It was really hard to tell. And I think that was just another great layer that she did with this book.
It was. And like you wanted to give her like the benefit of the doubt, like as a kid. And like her upbringing wasn't the best. So I was like, okay, like maybe she's just having a tough time as a child. But I was like, she's also kind of crazy.
Yeah. But what stuck out to me was the parent relationship in the diaries versus her memories that she shares as an adult. And so that was kind of like, I'm like, okay, there's got to be something big that happened. Like what happened that changed? Like, so you know there's something there. And I think that's like another clue, again, that we're dealing with more than one point of view.
Yeah.
But so what were some of your earliest theories about what was happening, or did you have any?
I definitely like suspected the husband at first. So it was just like they made him seem sketchy and unreliable. I thought they were like him and her sister were like having an affair.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know, I still didn't know like how. I never had a theory of how she ended up in her coma because I had no idea. But I just kind of had theories about like what was going on like outside of that. So
right.
definitely the husband and the sister was my earliest one.
Right. And like they were super sketch and like oh, sorry. We there?
Yeah, you're good.
I have my
now I can hear you.
phone plugged in. Okay, hang on one second. I have my phone is plugged into my computer. And sorry. Technical difficulties. I have a solid state hard drive computer. And after so long it just kind of like shuts off. So if my phone is plugged into it, it's like, hey, you're running out of battery. I'm like, oh. That's a problem. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. I don't know what we were talking about now.
Earliest theories, the husband and sister.
Yeah. I think like my first thought was like, I had the same thing. Like, okay, well, she just made me question everything. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I totally think the way she's describing it, yeah, it's gotta be the husband, and obviously it had something to do with the sister. He's totally having an affair. And then I'm like, or is that just too easy? And that's what she wants me to think. And I'm like,
no, that's what I mean. Like everything they want me to think, I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, this is it.
Oh my god, fell for every trap.
I do.
Okay, so there were 5 twists, like we mentioned. What was your favorite one? So we had Claire was writing the diaries. Joe was an imaginary friend. Madeline was Claire's godmother. Amber set Madeline up. Like the whole job was this one big scheme.
Yeah.
And then the last diary entry, which I won't get to just yet.
I think my favorite one was that the diaries were not hers, they were Claire's. That one, I think it was the most surprising to me. That was like the first, I think, really big one. Just because it was like the whole book. I was like, why would they not be hers? And like the way that they like referred to each other as sisters the whole time. Right.
Yeah, that was misleading, like a red herring or whatever. I did like the diaries, but I also really liked that I liked that Amber set Madeline up.
Yes, I did too.
The whole thing was just this whole scheme. But now that we're talking about Amber and Madeline, just for point of clarification, because sometimes like I don't always pick things up, and I have like, I always joke with everybody, I've got the world's worst short-term memory. Like it's awful. When we were reading about that, I swear I thought that like she was presenting herself to the reader, Amber was presenting herself to the readers as if she were co-presenter on that radio show.
Yes.
Then we find out she was just the PA.
Yes.
But I don't remember thinking like, okay, where was the disconnect there? Like
I feel like she always talked about because then I was thinking about like once you realize that she was never on the show, like it would just talk about like the show happening, but like once I started like thinking about it, I was like, okay, she really never did say like that she was on it, or like I don't know, just like the way they like it was like they left you like enough out to make you
deliberately ambiguous.
Yes.
Yeah, that was tricky. I was like just trying to make that connection. I'm like, didn't they say that though? Like
they like hinted at it, but they didn't actually like ever come out and say it.
Interesting. Okay, so just to go back to Joe, so we find out Joe is Amber's imaginary friend from childhood.
That was sad.
It is sad. Did you ever have an imaginary friend as a child?
I did not, but
or you can have one now if you really want. I'm not going to judge.
I still have it. I didn't, but my brother did. So I remember like him talking about, his name was like Michael John.
Oh, I love it. I'm sure he's going to appreciate you throwing him out there on this one out too.
Yeah. Me and my husband were just talking about this the other day because my husband thinks imaginary friends are like creepy, and I was like, no, they're not. Like, I was like, this is what it is. I was like, my brother had one. It was fine.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had one, but I just imagine that like you'd have to be really lonely to make that happen. So it just makes you sad all over again for
like that. Like, I think like for kids, like, yeah, sometimes like my cousin had one. Like me and my cousin like were together all the time, like best friends, and so like she wasn't like she didn't like need a friend, but she always had one. She blamed everything on her imaginary friend.
Well, that's actually a really good idea.
I think that's the reason she had one.
Sorry, babe. Fifi forgot to do the dishes.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
But for like an adult to like continue to have one your whole life, like that is, it's sad.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also indicative of mental trauma or emotional
for sure
stuff, which obviously now that we've read the book,
not a lot.
So this is kind of getting back to the title. What do you think sometimes I lie really means?
I still
still don't know.
No.
Like, what do you think she lied about? Like, was any of the story even true?
That's what, like, I want to believe her that this is actually true. Because I was thinking maybe like her job. I mean, she did lie. Like, she does talk about Joe as if Joe is a real person.
Right.
It's obviously a lie. Like her job.
I'm not so sure that's a lie, though. I think that's like,
yeah,
you know,
it's like
there's a word for it, and I'm having a really hard time remembering what that word is, but I know you know what I'm talking about. Like,
yes,
that's like mental health thing. I don't feel like a delusion. Delusion, that's the word.
There we go. She's not trying to lie.
Right.
It's like real to her.
Yeah.
Or like just that her job was just a way to get back at Madeline. That was a lie.
Because she was a TV presenter before she was in the radio. Like, she left a presenting, or like she was like on TV.
Oh yeah. And she left to do that.
And she left that. So like you have to like wonder why she would do something like that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, I don't know, radio killed the video star, I guess. So let's talk about the ending. Who do you think left the bracelet?
Oh, so I was reading, I got on like Goodreads afterwards. So I was like, what does everybody else think about this book? And I feel like the most like common one, and probably the one that I like lean towards, is that Claire isn't actually dead and she left the bracelet. Because when she like left, her eyes were open or whatever. Yeah.
Like somehow she survived it. Or did Amber lie? Or I don't know.
So the other ones were like, what was the other guy's? Edward? Was that his name?
Yeah, because they never found his body either.
They never found him, so like that was another one. Or that her husband read
the diaries.
The diaries.
Even though he said he didn't.
Yeah. I mean, which he probably did. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. I kind of lean towards, just based on, I think that Amber is seriously psychologically effed up.
Yes.
So like, I think that she's got some kind of split personality.
I do too, because like I get that she like has been through a lot and stuff, but even to like be able to do that at the end, I was like, okay.
Yeah. And I would almost argue that Joe is like a personification of one of those split personalities.
Oh.
And I think that like Amber, because if she did end up killing Claire, like doesn't feel like she deserves a happy ending necessarily, because she did love Claire, but she also hated her. And like, I feel like she's got this split personality and she can't let herself be happy. And so when, Amber left the bracelet, then her whatever split personality took over and took it. And then I don't know. I do think Paul has something to do with it though too. There's something not right there. I don't know what it is. I need more pages.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I need another chapter. Explain this to me. You can't leave these things open for me.
There's probably a ton of fan fiction out there for this stuff, you know?
Oh, I'm sure.
I feel like, yeah, there's too many different possibilities. But I do think like Paul had to have read the diaries. I mean, what man isn't going to stumble across? Come on. I mean, show of hands, people.
I would have read them. Like everybody would have read them.
Everybody would have read them.
Especially if you just like even caught a glimpse of any of them, you would have been like, "What the heck are these?"
Right. But the question is, when did he read them?
True. There wasn't that much time.
And like one of the things in the questions with the publisher had was talking about. I didn't write it on the outline here, but was talking about how one of those very first scenes in the hospital when Paul is there with her and her sister is like texting him to come up to the hospital room, and he mutters and calls her, well, we assume he's calling her the B word under his breath. Or is he calling Amber?
Oh.
Like,
I don't even remember that happening.
It was towards the beginning. It was one of the first. It was like right when we first meet Claire.
So there's like theories that he had like read them like the whole time.
Oh, better not let my computer die. Don't go anywhere. Started blacking out. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was just a crazy ending, and like, I don't know. I think that. Okay, well, do you think, besides the bracelet, let's talk about the last page of the diary. Do you think that Amber / Taylor told her to do it? Or do you think she did it, or do you think Claire burned her house down as a child and was trying to kind of drag Taylor / Amber into it?
I think that Claire just did it and was just trying to drag her into it.
Yeah.
Just.
She's totally a sociopath, I'm telling you.
Yes. Absolutely. And then just the way that, like, the rest of Amber Taylor's life has gone since then, like, with Claire being in every little aspect of it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
My gut is saying that Claire definitely just did it.
I mean, she went and wrote these letters to Edward that ended up.
Yeah. What the heck was that?
Causing this whole thing. Like, oh, and by the way, I think I signed your name. What?
Causing this crazy man to stalk her.
Right. Right. Like, Layla says, I think that Claire burned the house down. Yeah. I think so too.
Because after, says, like, what did Amber say?
She said that she likes the husband theory as far as the bracelet, and yeah. And then she says, I think Claire did it and then was just playing mind games with Amber and making her constantly be in fear. I agree.
I do too.
She was psycho for sure, Layla. Like, yes.
Absolutely. I think I want, like, my gut goes towards that Claire left the bracelet at the end, but I also really don't want Claire to be alive because she just is terrible to her.
I mean, if she was, okay, but if Amber used the same drug on her to, like, you know, knock her out essentially, or like semi-comatose state,
yeah, whatever,
then she can't move, you know, like, so how would she have survived that? I really do think it was a split personality thing for Amber. So Amber / Taylor / Joe in my theories. Like, I don't know. And like she even says,
be the theme.
Yeah, I know. I think she's got like a split personality, like what's the, I don't even know. There's a whole clinical name for it, like dissociation
or whatever.
I don't remember what it's called. I can't remember anything. Hence previous conversation. See previous conversation. Can't remember anything. Yeah, I don't know. I think I really hope this would make a great movie.
It really would.
And I would love to see what somebody would do with it. I don't know if, so this is my first book by her. It's not going to be my last, but I don't know if any of her other stuff is, or if this one is at like being optioned on movies. I feel like everything's getting optioned on movies lately that we see.
Literally everything.
Joyce says, at one point, Amber told Claire that she did the Madeline set up for Claire, but I never figured out why Claire wanted Madeline to be set up. Oh, so that was revenge. So Madeline was Claire's godmother and her aunt, her mom's sister, right?
Yeah.
And when Amber burned the house down and killed her parents, or not Amber, when Claire did that, did I say Amber? When Claire burned the house down that killed her parents, she was already mad at her aunt because her aunt was the one that basically wanted to sell the house, which meant that it was going to force her and her family out of it. So she was already mad at her for that. And then after that, when her parents died, like her aunt wanted nothing to do with her and like kept the money and the settlement and all, like just kept everything for herself essentially. Yeah. And so this was a total revenge thing that Madeline like screwed Claire over as a child. So Claire was going to screw Madeline over via Amber in present time. So Amber, is this going to be a movie or TV? I have no idea. I really want it to be one or the other, but I have no idea. I was just curious if anybody else knew out there.
I haven't heard.
Yeah, I haven't either, but I'm hoping, you know, like if we put this out there, you know, sometimes our phones listen to us. So maybe
make it happen.
We can just make it happen with our own little magic.
Make it happen and make it done well.
Yeah.
That's always my fear when things get turned into movies or TV. Sometimes it's not good.
It depends on who's doing it for sure. Yeah. So, well, that's all I had. Did you have anything that you wanted to add or anything else you wanted to discuss with it?
I don't think so. I think we covered all the big things in it.
Well, yay. This was such a fun book to read, and I'm so glad that you were able to join me for this discussion tonight.
Yeah, it's just fun.
It was. I hope you can do it again sometime. I would love to have you back.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, just to reiterate, our next month's book is going to be Love on the Brain by Hazelwood, and that is going to be October 25th. And you will be able to find a replay of this if you want to share it with your friends or anything like that. I'm going to be posting the replay on Instagram and on my YouTube channel. And I will be sure to put Allie's tag in my Instagram caption, as well as all of her links in my YouTube description box. So be sure to go and check out her feed because she's got some really adorable things. And I need to see more of those blanket squares. Okay. So can you make that happen?
I'll get on it.
And I don't care if they're, you know, color work or if they're just, you know, whatever. Yeah. It was, yeah, I'd love to see more of them. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. I hope you did too.
Yes, I did. It was awesome.
Awesome. Well, we will catch you guys on the next one. Bye. Good night.